So you think you were right? Bring it on, prove me wrong. Go put up a fight. The where do will knock you down.
Timothy Lee Grimwade, born 4th of June 1984 at Chase Farm Hospital, Enfield, came into my life 1 week later following a Sunday phone call, the precious adopted son we'd longed for so long. Timothy, for Paul's dear son in the Bible. Lee from his birth mother, who specially requested he grow up in a Christian family. My stomach churned for a week, thinking he'd be taken back from us.
I got it from him. I remember the sunny Sunday vividly. I was called in from playing out with my friends, and my mum and dad had called me into the front room, which was a rarity because we didn't usually use that room for anything apart from special occasions. I was already on the alert, like, okay, what could this be about? Anyway, my mum proceeded to bring out this album, and it had a few pictures and whatnot of a certain lady who I didn't have a clue who she was. I must have been 6, 7 years old. Basically, mum went on to let me know and explain to me that I was adopted. That was 33 years ago. And about roughly 4 weeks ago, I found my biological parents. So the reason I was adopted in the first place was because basically my parents got in trouble with the law and there was a court case pending. Upon that court case, it looked like my mum might have gone to jail and it looked like she might have been taking me with her. So she thought instantly, look, there's no way that I'm going to be having my son in jail, so I need to give him up for adoption. So she actually requested that I went to a Christian home, which is crazy because obviously my path was already thought about by God, I feel, you know, before my life even really came about. So roughly 4 weeks ago today, Ella rang me while she was at work and I was at home with the children, and she was like, hi babe, and I was like, hi, how are you? She said, I'm all good. I found your birth dad, by the way. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. What's he saying? She said, I'm going back and forth with him on Facebook at the moment, so if you want to like log into my Facebook and check it out, you're more than welcome to. And I said, yeah, cool, let me see what he's saying. I went on there. I was instantly, you know, taken aback that he was very on, like, having some kind of communication. He definitely wasn't dismissive in any way, shape or form. He seemed quite beside himself, to be fair. And basically, after Ella and Dad going back and forth a few times, he basically works nights. But Ella was obviously like, okay, I understand you got to go for your nap or whatever before you go to work later. However, holler at Tim. He knows I'm talking to you. You can see his Facebook now. And Dad was like, I'm not sure, like, how can I do that? You know, after so long, hi sonish, your dad doesn't really sound right. And Ella was like, trust me, if you get to know Tim, he's quite a cool character. Give him a shout, like he'll want to talk. And he said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I'm going to go to have my rest because I need to, obviously, because like I said, I'm working nights and I've got to get a nap before that. But I'm not, you know, dismissing this by any. I want to keep talking. And Ella was like, okay, cool, no worries. Well, if you do want to holler at him, do you know what I mean? Please do. About 2 hours later, he just messaged, I did it. I've messaged him. And so Ella gets on the phone, she rings me, and she's like, your dad's contacted you, because before we started this vlogging stuff, we were rubbish with our social media. I wouldn't even have had the notifications on. And then I went and checked my Facebook. He was like, hi Tim, it's Stuart. How are you? You know, just kind of general chitter-chatter or whatever. And I immediately messaged him back. I said, sup dad, you know, it's great to hear from you. First things first, I ain't mad at you. And that was the first thing on my heart that I wanted to share with him. I wasn't mad. I didn't want him to think that because I had been adopted that was a big deal where I had built up some kind of resentment towards him. I've been brought up in a fantastic home. Do you know what I mean? All my life, I've not wanted for anything, and I've been loved unconditionally. And that's through being an absolute terror, by the way. All I want to care about right now is the future and going forward. Do you know what I mean? I don't care what's happened in the past. I just want to know what's going on in the future. He was like, oh, son, laugh out loud, do you know what I mean, on the next reply. And anyway, we conversed and we went back and forth or whatnot for a little while. This is Thursday, right? I do football coaching for a local team with my son in it. Ella suggested, why don't you come down to a tournament that we've got on this Saturday? Obviously I'm talking to my friends in the meantime or whatever, and they're all like, you know, don't rush anything, but at the same time they know me well, and they was like, Tim, look, we know you're strong-headed, do you know what I mean? If you think it's right to kind of run with it, then run with it. I mean, you've got to kind of follow your heart on this one. You can't like overthink it or anything like that. So I was like, cool. And I thought that was a good idea. Dad was like, at first he was like, oh, we're kind of busy. And it weren't like we're kind of busy because it's an excuse or whatever. It was just how it was. He was kind of busy or whatnot. But I think like a little while later that same day, he was like, you know what, forget it, we're coming. Do you know what I mean? We're coming. So that was scheduled for us to meet on Saturday. Friday came now, and I had taken Hezzy to training, football training as per usual. I was coming back, and Ella started messaging me all this kind of code on the phone, like some emojis. Like she put an eye, like an eye, and a nose, and a girl. Like, and it was basically, it was I know her. Anyway, I got home, and she had a smile on her face, and she was like, babe, I found her. And I was like, you found her? Like, okay, who's her? The cat's mother? I was like, oh, okay, you found her, you found my mum. So Detective Ella was on the case again. Now apparently Ella had rang the house because I had adoption records, so I had certain information, not very much, but I had certain information of like the family home, you know, 33 years ago. And Ella had rang the house where my mum used to live, and she had been like, oh hey, does the 4th of June 1984 mean anything to you? They were like, oh, that's Lee's birthday. For those who don't know, my full name is Timothy Lee Grimwade. My biological mum, Julie Matthews, named me Lee Ainsworth, which was her maiden name, and my mum and dad, Grimwade, named me Timothy, but they kept Lee as kind of a sign of respect or whatnot. So Timothy Lee Grimwade. My biological grandparents, they were like, oh, okay, that's Lee's birthday. And apparently they had basically stayed at this house for 33 years just for the hope that one day I'd contact them. Now, Ella had talked with them a bit. She got mum's name that had changed because she had been married. So it was now Julie Matthews and it was Julie Ainsworth. So now she could find her on Facebook. God bless Facebook, eh? She found her, and instantly after seeing the picture, in fact, I'll probably put the picture in here so you can see how alike we look. She was like, look, I think this is your mum. And I was like, yeah, I think so, because it was just blatantly obvious. So there was no denying it, no need for a DNA test. And anyway, I came home, and later that evening she had said, oh, okay, well, there's a voice like note feature on Facebook now. And I was like, okay, cool, we'll run it. Let's send her a voice note. And I was like, sup ma, it's your son. I know it's probably weird hearing my voice or whatnot, but again, same as I said to Dad, I was like, I'm not mad at you. I don't want you to think that I'm mad at you. I think you made a very brave decision, because giving up your son for adoption, you know, it can't be no easy thing, but at the end of the day, I've profited well from it. So all that being said, I couldn't help but feel like I've had a good upbringing, and I've had you know, a really good experience at life, and that's through the decision you made, Mum. So I was just expressing myself honestly. Basically, as soon as she came out of the O2 that night, she saw the messages come through on her phone once she had turned her phone back on, and she was like, wow, my son. Like, and apparently she just broke down. My sister, who was with her, Ellie, she broke down too. And people, they've just come out from like somewhat of a comedy, I think, like a show at the O2. Everyone's thinking like, what the heck's going on? They're looking like someone's died up in here. But they were like, obviously tears of joy. So anyway, Ella had left her number, and I was on the FaceTime to Fox, and Ella's just burst in the room and like, your mum's calling. And I'm like, well, answer it then. Like, and anyway, we spoke at length that night. We probably spoke, I believe it was from when they left the O2 to when they got home, and they were in Stevenage, that's where they live. So I think it was quite a lengthy conversation, although it didn't really feel like a lengthy conversation. You would have thought it felt really bizarre, but it didn't. It felt like the most bizarrely normal thing that I have ever been through in my life. And then Saturday rolled round. Obviously, Dad had been arranged to come and meet me at the football. He turned up, I spotted him from a mile off, likewise. He came, he embraced me, hugged me real tight. He burst into tears, Ella burst into tears, my mum-in-law burst into tears, the soccer mums burst into tears. Some people said, nah Tim, I got to take a walk because I can't do this. Like, basically, everyone was in tears, I think apart from me. And it wasn't at all that I didn't feel love from the embrace, I didn't feel happy about the moment, but it was just that. I felt happy. I didn't feel any way, I didn't feel bad, I don't know, very rarely have I cried when I'm happy. I think the only time I've cried when I'm happy was when Hezekiah was born. And that was the first of my children because I wasn't used to that emotion and it just caught me. So, and I just ran with it. Anyway, we had a nice time, we sat down, we talked, he got to know some of the people from my football team and whatnot. Anyway, that day went on, it was a lovely day. That day came to an end. We said our goodbyes. Obviously, still feeling a little weird, but still, you know, it was bizarrely normal. Like, it didn't feel, you know, awkward or anything like that. Anyway, that night I was speaking to my mum and Ellie. I was texting back and forth. The kids were voice noting and stuff like that. We had left it as, okay, maybe we should link up sometime this week, because obviously I'd met Dad, and also an important thing to me was my mum not feeling like I had met my dad and then time had surpassed and then I came to meet her. I wanted it to be equal. I didn't want there to be any resentment, any bad feelings or nothing like that. So anyway, Sunday rolled round and in the morning I woke up and I rolled over to Ella. My first statement was, look babe, can we go and see my mum and my sister today? I felt like I'd seen my dad yesterday. As I said, I didn't want time to elapse between the two, and I thought, you know, why are we waiting? What's there to wait for? We rang up my mum-in-law, Mum Brown, shout out to Mum Brown, and said, can we arrange like a meal at your house? Can you put on some food? And can we meet at yours? Mum was like, yeah, of course you can. I said to Ella, you know, can you message Mum? And she went and turned over to her phone and Mum had only messaged back the very same thing, can we meet today? Which obviously is mad uncanny that we were on the same kind of thought process. They did come down and they came to Mum's and we had an absolutely lovely day. Mum brought an album down with her and we went through that. And I think the only time we saw any tears that day was when Mum had to say, and that was the last time I saw you. And then she kind of broke down. I put my arm around Mum and said, Mum, it's cool. Do you know what I mean? You ain't got to cry like that or nothing like that. We're here now. And when I waved goodbye to them that day, that was hard for me. I felt like, oh man, can't we spend more time? What I forgot to say about on my dad's side is on my dad's side, I also have 3 brothers, Luke, Joe and Isaac. When I was younger, there was not much that I wanted more than to have a brother. And I wanted a brother more than anything. So to find out I had 3, that was major to me, like absolutely major. Now, I didn't get to meet them on first meeting like I met Ellie when my mum came, because Ellie obviously came with Mum. But basically a little time elapsed, I think a week or 2 maybe, and Dad invited us around for this family barbecue where everyone was there. So my grandparents biologically, my brothers, my cousins, my uncles, aunties. It was real cool. We went with the whole family, me, Ella and the kids. And it was just a lovely, lovely, lovely day. I just cannot explain how much of a blessing this has been. At the same time, you know, it hasn't all been easy. I mean, Ella isn't used to, you know, me showing other females, no matter who they are, as much attention as I show Ella. So she described it to me as, you know, when I see you look at your mum and your sister, you look at them in a way that I've only ever seen once, and that's to me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying she only saw it once. I look at her like that regularly, but she had seen it in one instance, and that's her. And I understand that totally. It's almost like all of a sudden I'm besotted, you know, with my new family and getting to know them, because family is a big deal to me, and it's a big deal to us in general. So anyway, saying that, what has been lovely about this whole thing was I've never been a secret on either side of the fence with my dad or my mum. With my mum, the first time I went to Mum's house, she went knocking all her neighbours' doors and they came out going, oh my day, it's you. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like, do you know what I mean? But, you know, I couldn't believe how many people my mum had told about me. I just couldn't believe it. It was crazy. Like, there was not one person that was close to her that didn't know about me. So basically that brings to an end my story, and obviously my story is one of the ones that has gone very well. If you're out there and you're thinking about finding your biological parents if you were adopted, then I would encourage you to go for it. I can't promise what the outcome will be, but mine has been nothing but positive, and I just wanted to share my experience with you guys, and hopefully maybe it will help someone out there. I don't know in which way, but God willing it will. So I'm sorry that you got stuck with just me this week. However, we'll be back next week. I just want to say a massive shout out to the Grimwade Gang, who have got us over 1,000 subscribers within 2 weeks. We are at 1K, people. 1K. Like, I didn't think that was going to happen for months. I didn't even know if it was going to happen, but we thank you dearly for your support. The Instagram's going really well. Twitter, please follow us on these things. Twitter is at Grimwade Family, and our Instagram is at the Grimwade Family. So please check us out there as well. Get interactive with us. If this has helped in any way, please put it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't be shy to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for more content that will be coming real soon. I've been Tim, this is my adoption story, and God bless you all.
So you think you were right? Bring it on, prove me wrong. Go put up